little bit what we read yesterday was very profound, and then we will continue. Yesterday was really nice. Every page of Prabhupada Lilamrta is glorious. Abhay went on listening to his spiritual master at every opportunity, but rarely did Abhay put a philosophical inquiry before him. He preferred simply to listen. This explained by Prabhupada in his own words that I never ask my spiritual master a question except one, how shall I serve you? That's where we left. So we will continue. Abhay Chanande became prominent in the pharmaceutical business. He worked well for Bose Laboratory, and other companies wanted him as their agent. He had hopes of becoming rich. Srila Prabhupada explained in his own words, my Guru Maharaj ordered me, quote, you do this, unquote. But I thought, quote, let me first of all become a rich man, then I shall do, unquote. In the beginning, I was thinking, quote, now my god brothers have taken sannyas. They are begging from door to door. Why shall I beg? Let me earn money and start Krishna consciousness, unquote. The biggest pharmaceutical company in India, Bengal Chemical, made him an offer. But when they did not fulfill all his conditions, he turned them down. This is the way to do. Prabhupada is bold. On his term he will work. Haribol. Though later he regretted it, still there were good signs. The astrologer has predicted he could become one of India's richest men. And Dr. Karthik Bose had told his father-in-law, quote, he is a very intelligent man, unquote. But there were also other signs, as many accounts as he had secured by his wide travels. There were also that many bills to collect. Many of the accounts began to fall behind in their payments, and the accumulated debt began to grow. Until he owned Bose Laboratory, a total of 10,000 rupees. And Abhay had enemies. The manager who had taken over Abhay's old position as office manager with Bose Laboratory in Calcutta tried to turn Dr. Bose against Abhay, insinuating that he was too independent. They had heard of his negotiating with Bengal Chemical, and the new manager attributed the accumulating debt to Abhay's lack of loyalty to the Home Office. Karthik Bose remained favorably inclined toward Abhay, but when the debt became a financial strain, he went to Allahabad to investigate. At Prayag Pharmacy, he spoke with Dr. Ghosh, who told him, quote, he is a very honest man. It is no fault of his. In good faith, he gave all these chemists drugs and credit, but he can't realize the money, unquote. Quote, all right, unquote, Dr. Bose says, quote, but I can't go on giving him money, unquote. Abhay went over the accounts with Dr. Karthik Bose, and they both agreed that the best way to settle the matter was for Dr. Bose to take over the Prayag pharmacy and all Abhay's accounts. Thus, Abhay was absolved of debt but unemployed. Atulanand Brahmachari approached him, quote, "Why don't you come to the mat? Now you are free," unquote. Abhay began to visit more frequently the nearby Rupa Goswami Mat, where the Gaudiya Mat man, in the renounced Brahmachari spirit, suggested that he depend completely on Krishna, give up the world, move in with them, and become a full-time preacher. But for Abhay, there was no question of abandoning business. If he did, what would happen to his wife and children? He and Radharani now had a third child, a son, so the financial responsibility was increasing. The brahmacharis were well intentioned in asking him to renounce the world, and it was fine for them to do so. But Abhay couldn't take it very seriously. Without work, he was in a critical situation, but he remained confident and eager to take on new employment. There were other companies that would like to have him as their agent, and some of his old customers wanted him to service them, even if he weren't Bose's man. Abhay thought about starting his own pharmaceutical laboratory. Finally, he decided he would start his own factory, but in a much bigger city than Allahabad. He settled on Bombay. He decided that his family should remain in Allahabad, and he and his brother would travel to Bombay, take an apartment, and survey the prospect for starting a factory there. Although Radharani was used to her husband's traveling, it had never been as extended as this promised to be. Abhay talked with her, explaining that his recent business loss had been the arrangement of Krishna. Now, again to provide for his family, he would have to start a large business, and that could best be done in a major city like Bombay. But family life in Allahabad would be temporarily disrupted. He set up a very small pharmaceutical manufacturing operation there in Allahabad. But his nephew, Tulsi, in charge, and left for Bombay with his brother. In Bombay, Abhay rented an apartment on Grant Road, and applying the knowledge he had gained as a manager of Bose Laboratory, started his own pharmaceutical factory. Business was going well when a large company, Smith Institute, wanted him as their sales agent. Abhay took the job, thinking that he could earn money as Smith's representative while at the same time developing his own business. He was confident of his ability to earn money in the pharmaceutical line. While traveling around Bombay on business, Abhay met some member of the Gaudiya Mat, Bhakti Rakshasak Sridhar Maharaj and Bhakti Sharang Goswami. senior sannyasis disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Abhay recognized them as respected godbrothers, well-versed in the scriptures and Vaishnava philosophy. It seemed he was destined to find his godbrothers wherever he went. Both he and the sannyasis regarded their apparently odd meeting in the city as auspicious. Like the member of the Gaudiya Math he had met in Allahabad, these preachers had no permanent center, but they were trying to start one. On behalf of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, they were going door to door soliciting supporters for a Bombay branch of the Gaudiya Math. Abhay wanted to help. As a fellow godbrother in the service of his spiritual master, he offered them his services. Although as sannyasis, they were in a superior position, in their somewhat helpless condition, they looked up to Abhay for help. They had been staying in a small place on Proctor Road and had found little opportunity to make important contacts. Now they formed a team. Abhay introducing the sannyasis to business acquaintances and sannyasis taking donations for the new center. Abhay Charanaravinda was good at collecting funds, and he willingly gave his time. Again, his godbrothers began pulling at him to participate fully in the Gaudiya Math preaching. So Prabhupada is explaining that situation in his own words as follows. We made a party for collecting alms, Sridhar Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj and myself. I took them to some of my chemist and doctor friends. And in 2 days, we collected 500 rupees. Sridhar Maharaj would speak, I would introduce, and Goswami Maharaj would canvass. So Goswami Maharaj very much appreciated, and he began to speak highly about me. Quote, for a Babu, he is so expert. He has got so many friends, and he has collected so much. Why should he not be in charge of our math? Why shouldn't he live with us? Why is he living separately? Abhay visited the Math quarters on Proctor Road, where he joined the devotees in Kirtan and heard them speak from the Bhagavatam. At the sannyasis' request, Abhay took on the responsibility of finding a more suitable place for the Bombay Center. Wherever he went in the city, he looked for likely locations, just as he had responsibilities for his wife and family in Allahabad. By dint of his initiation, he was responsibly bound to assist his godbrothers. He had to take part in the preaching, not simply struggle so that he might exist in the world of business competition. But he didn't think he could ever live like the sannyasis. No possession, no business, sleeping on the bare floor, taking only simple meals. February 25, 1935. It was the 62nd birthday of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. At Jagannath Puri, where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was residing, the devotees observed the day with ceremony. At the small Bombay center, the few disciples planned an evening observance and invited local people. For the occasion, Abhay wrote a poem. Adore, adore ye all, the happy day, blessed than heaven, sweeter than May. When he appeared at Puri, the holy place, my Lord and Master, His divine grace. O my Master, the evangelic angel, give us the light, light of the candle. Struggle for existence, a human race. The only hope is divine grace. Misled we are, all going astray. Thank you. Misled we are, all going astray. Save us, Lord, our fervent pray. Wander the ways to turn our face. Adore the feet, your divine grace. Forgotten Krishna, we fallen souls, paying most heavy, the illusions stall. Darkness around, all untraced, the only hope, His divine grace. Message of service, thou hast brought, a helpful life as Chaitanya brought. Unknown to all, it's full of bliss. That's your gift, your divine grace. Absolute is sentient, thou hast proved. Impersonal calamity, thou had moved. This gives us a life, a new and fresh. Worship the feet, your divine grace. Had you not come, who had told the message of Krishna, forceful and bold? That's your right, you have the mass. Save me a fallen, your divine grace. The line of service as drawn by you is pleasing and healthy like morning dew. The oldest of all, but in new dress, miracle done, your divine grace. Abhay Sharan Das. Abhay also composed a speech which he read before the assembled guests and members of the Gaudiya Math. Although his first language was Bengali, his English was clear and natural. Gentlemen, the offering of such a homage as has been arranged this evening to the Acharya Dev is not a sectarian concern, because when we speak of the fundamental principle of Gurudev or Acharya Dev, we speak of something that is of universal application. There does not arise any question of discriminating my Guru from that of yours or anyone else. There is only one Guru who appeared in the infinity of forms to teach you, me and all others. The Guru or Acharya Dev, as we learn from the bona fide scriptures, delivers the message of the absolute word. I mean, the transcendental abode of the absolute personality, where everything non-differentially shows the absolute truth. Like the poem, the speech was personal, but even more than the poem, it was authoritative, philosophical preaching. The God brothers were impressed to hear Abhay presenting the Vaishnava philosophy so expertly. How was it possible? Of course, it should not have come as a surprise. He had heard the Vaishnava philosophy from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, just like his god brothers. Why should he not be able to enunciate the teaching of his spiritual master, having heard from him and having read Gita and Bhagavatam and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Was he not a devotee in the parampara? But until now, no one knew he could preach in English so expertly. Therefore, if the absolute truth is one, about which we think there is no difference of opinion, the Guru also cannot be two. The Acharya Dev to whom we have assembled tonight to offer our humble homage is not the Guru of a sectarian institution or one out of many differing exponents of the truth. On the contrary, he is the Jagat Guru or the Guru of all of us. The only difference is that some obey him wholeheartedly while others do not obey him directly. The Guru of whom Abhay spoke, of course, was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the representative of the original compiler of the scripture Vyasadeva. Abhay explained how Lord Krishna had delivered transcendental knowledge to Brahma, the creator of this particular universe. From Brahma, the knowledge had descended to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and from Vyasa to Madhava. Because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was presenting the Vedic knowledge as is, without any interpretation in parampara, he was the bona fide Acharya who could enlighten others with the revealed knowledge of the Vedas. Abhay continued, "Gentlemen, our knowledge is so poor, our senses are so imperfect, and our sources are so limited that it is not possible for us to have even the slightest knowledge of the absolute region without surrendering ourselves at the lotus feet of Sri Vyasadeva or his bona fide representative. These transcendental knowledge, Abhay explained, had been known in India for thousands of years. And this knowledge, although presently obscured, was India's real gift to the world. We must conclude that the darkness of the present age is not due to lack of material advancement, but that we have lost the clue to our spiritual advancement, which is the prime necessity of the human life and the criterion of the highest type of civilization. Throwing of bombs from aeroplanes is no advancement of civilization from the primitive, uncivilized way of dropping big stones on the heads of the enemies from the tops of the hill. Improvement of the art of killing our neighbors by inventing machine guns and by means of poisonous gases is certainly no advancement from primitive barbarism, priding itself on its art of killing by bow and arrows. Nor does the development of a sense of pampered selflessness prove anything more than This word I have problem to pronounce. Uh, intact, intact, intellectual. Haribol. It finally came intellectual, anima, animalism. Haribol. What time is it? 6:51. We can go for one more. Intellectual animalism. Thus, while others were yet in the womb of historical oblivion, the sages of India had developed a different kind of civilization which enabled us to know ourselves. They had discovered that we are not at all material entities, but that we are all spiritual, permanent, non-destructible servant of the Absolute. The speech continued, describing the horrible consequences of a misspent human life, the suffering of repeated birth and death. Again and again, Abhay stressed the need to surrender to the spiritual master. He criticized empirical, mundane philosophers, godless politicians, and blind sense gratifiers. He repeatedly pointed to the soul's natural and sublime position as the servant of God and as the servant of the pure devotee of God. Obey an initiated disciple of his spiritual master for a little more than 2 years, referring to himself as a student, continued. I think the time that we need to stop, the devotees who has to perform other tasks, so they can take up their process. And before they leave, we would like to offer our humble obeisances at the desk of those wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Today is taking a little longer time to capture the screenshot. Krishna says we have to be patient. Haribol. Pressing two together keys is a task because they are so apart, and one is raised, one is not raised. It's very difficult. Let me see what happened. Please, Krishna, assist me. I don't want to lose Haribol. Look like the page has gone. Well, he is talking, so we will figure it out if Krishna shows us the way. We always are dependent on Krishna's will. So this is a nice experience that we are not independent. We are always dependent on Krishna. So hopefully he will guide us to find where we left. So with those, I would like to offer my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhaya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So thank you very much for your kind association. I'm really extremely grateful to you all, and the lucky souls who can still dwell in the holy name, they can